Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to your Art Auntie's channel. I feel like I haven't said Art Auntie in a while, but I kind of felt cringed out by it, so I stopped. Should I bring it back? I say that as if it's been that long. It's been like 2 weeks. I've only been doing this for a few months. But whatever. Anyway, welcome back. I have a new video for you guys. I recently decided I wanted to get back into digital art. So I did. And I learned a lot going back in because I feel like I didn't really grasp it when I first tried digital art like last year. So I watched some good tutorials. I made a video about that. You should go check it out. But I'll put it here. I made a video about what I watched and what I used to get better at it. There's so much glare on my glasses. But to get better at digital art, and I made a lot of progress. And I wanted to practice more. And I also want to make like little products for a store I would like to open next year. Like, what better way to do that than to make some stickers? I made some Silent Hill F stickers. I made some stickers. And since I wanted to make a lot of Silent Hill F themed stuff, like this painting that I need to keep working on and filming for you guys. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe so that you can see this painting. I did omomoris, one of the items that you collect throughout the game in Silent Hill F. So I did a creepy doll omomori. It's like the doll that follows her around the whole game. I did a fox mask omomori. And I did Junko's bird owl mask thing. I just wanted to do 3. I was like, 3 is good, and then you can pick and choose which one's your favorite. I might also offer them as like a bundle. I also thought, what if we did air fresheners? Because I have like a little, it's not an air freshener, but something that hangs. It's an actual omomori that hangs from my rear view mirror. My visor. Yeah, my rear view mirror in my car. It's a little omomori that hangs, an actual one. So when I see these omomori stickers, I almost immediately think of like a air freshener type thing that would just hang from where the knot is. But they're a little more expensive. So please let me know if that's something you could see yourself buying. And then maybe I'll order some. Maybe I'll just do like a smaller batch. And if they sell out, then I mean, the demand. But yeah, I'm going to show you guys some of the process of making these, like show you the sketches I started with, and I'll show you the time lapses. And I might do a little voiceover. We'll see. This is just the intro for now. But please go grab yourself a little cup of tea, or grab your iPad or your sketchbook and doodle along with me. Or just put me on in the background. And let's get to these stickers. So when I start these stickers, I wanted to just do sketches in my sketchbook first, because it feels so much more intuitive for me to draw with pencil and paper than it does in my iPad. And then I just transfer photos of the sketches onto my iPad and Procreate and continue the process there. But I really like the way that they look just traditionally better. And that is like rooted, that's where my art is rooted from, is my traditional work. So it's much more easy for me to transfer my style and the way that I make art digitally if I just start with a little bit of that traditional base. And it just helps everything feel more, what's the word I'm looking for? Feel more cohesive in my style. So I wanted to take a second to just kind of loosely walk you through what I did on Procreate. I'll make a more extensive video about the exact steps and everything that I use to do digital art in a later video, but I just kind of wanted to walk you through what I do. And I will put a link to all the brushes and stuff that I use in the description of this video if you do want to use the same brushes as me. But the first thing I did was upload that photo of the traditional sketch that I did, and then I kind of refine it with like a little sketchy brush just right on top of the photo. And then I try to get my color palette beforehand, and then I put another layer and I use a darker, like almost burgundy red to do the actual line art and outline of the sticker. And I do this color, one, because I just love red. Red's like my favorite. Even when I do traditional work and paintings, I like to do a lot of red outlines. But specifically for digital art, when you do the red and then you use the multiplier feature or effect on that layer and you go over it with your colors and shading on top of that, it will kind of blend, and the red, like let's say I'm doing like a skin tone, it'll kind of change the red to just be like a darker version of whatever color I'm using. So it gives you that colored line art effect, and it's really easy. It looks super nice too, because I always had an issue with that, because I'm very much so I want to see the line art. I almost want to see like the sketch, but I want my digital art to look a little cleaner. I don't like borderless things. I think it's the ex-tattoo artist in me. I don't like we need an outline here so that you can define what's going on. And that multiply layer with that red just really helps bring that out. I had also previously mentioned when I first started this channel wanting to do a series where I drew characters from video games and like talked about the lore or the story and like what I thought about the game in the videos of me drawing the characters. And I haven't done that, and I don't know how I would go about it really. So I thought maybe I'll just pop in here in this video and drop like little thoughts I have about the different characters. But so of course this is all about Silent Hill F. And in the game you collect, one of the collectible items that you can get are omomoris. So that's what each of these stickers are omomoris, and I wanted to take like big important items that represent a character and put them on the omomoris. So this one here is the main character Hinako, her older sister Junko. This is Junko's mask, and it is believed in the game that Junko and Hinako both are wearing masks after they get married that represent them identifying with a different family. So later on, Hinako gets a fox mask, like in my second design, and Junko has this bird owl-esque mask. And it's a huge part of the game is Hinako almost mourning the loss of her sister to marriage because she doesn't have a relationship with her anymore, and her sister is just this different viewpoint of life and marriage and womanhood than she has. Like Junko's really falling into that traditional values and what's expected of her. And then Hinako is this new
values and like growing apart from those views, like the change in society. And this one here is Hinako's mask because she ends up getting married, and this is her family, is, we'll just say, the Fox clan. And there are two different versions of Hinako through the game. Three, really. There's like the actual married version of her. There's this version of her who is accepting these traditional values and becoming a wife. And then there's a version of her with no mask, where we see she is very heavily rebelling against marriage and these roles that she's being placed into by the traditions of the Japanese culture at the time. I think this took place in the 60s. And Japan is not known to be very, I don't know the words to put, but to put it bluntly, Japan is quite sexist. And I think it still is to an extent today, but very, very much so in the 60s. It was a very sexist place. And this is that's a huge part of the Silent Hill F story, is talking about those restrictions, those views, and all of that, and how it's really affecting this woman in Hinako, and how her mind is just being tortured by it, and the things that she may or may not do because of it. This Fox one was actually the first one I did. I feel like you can kind of tell once you look at the other two that this was the first, because I feel like they just got better the more I did them, obviously, because it's like practice, you know? So the Junko one was actually the last one I did. And I feel like you can tell the details were better, and I was really I was getting more into it and used to what I was doing. And I had the trial and error. I did the most trial and error with this Fox mask. But I really wanted to jump into this part and talk about how I lay the colors down. I have a different layer for each like portion. Like the mask itself was in a layer, the flowers were in a layer, the knot, and then the background had two different layers for those two colors. And then I just dropped down those main blocks of colors, and then you can alpha lock them, which I'm sure to people who do digital art, that's super like entry level information. Like everybody knows that, but I didn't know anything about that until like a month ago, and it changed my life figuring out what the alpha lock was for. And then when you have the different layers with these different colors and you alpha lock it, then you can just go in and add the shading and airbrush tool, and you don't have to try to keep it away from the other colors. It sounds super silly, but I was like, it changed my world. It made digital art click for me, learning that. That was one of the biggest tips that I learned. And then I put the shading and then the larger details are all on the same layer as that base color. And then I just add one more layer on top of everything, where I add the smaller details and the details that I don't mind if they go over top of the line art as well. So like highlights and things. As Pipo's art would say, kind of doing it as if it's like an oil painting, where I'm just layering things on top to get that more buildable look that paint gives you. I also want to talk about this doll, because the other stickers, of course, are Junko and Hinako's masks that they adorn after marriage. And then there's this doll. And I've heard a couple of theories about this doll, but this is what I think this doll represents. The doll is one of the first things you see when you play the game. It is the first thing you see when you play the game, because you see a young Hinako playing with this doll and having the doll talking to her, and they're like almost doing this role play thing, and you can see already Hinako's fighting back of these roles. And it seems that this doll throughout the game is representing a young Hinako, her more childlike self, who does not want to grow into these confined, is that a word? Doesn't want to be stuck in these roles that society and her family are putting onto her. And you see the doll popping up throughout the game, trying to warn her and tell her not to trust the fox mask, and warning her about Rinko and others throughout the game. And near the final scene where she goes and she kind of becomes herself as a wife with her parents, you see the doll trying to tell her to turn back, that she won't be able to go back from this. So I think this doll really is just the young Hinako, the young spirit of Hinako is just trying to really, you could look at it in two ways, because there are like two different versions of Hinako in this. There's a version that is wanting to accept the role of a wife and a mother and all of this, that is willing to just go through it. And that's not to say that's wrong, because there are plenty of people that would be happy. And there's another version of her that does not want to do this and wants to rebel and wants to live life by different rules than society is pushing upon her. So I believe that this doll is kind of representing the child, which also represents that side of Hinako that doesn't want to conform, but it's really that truly her childlikeness. So it's almost like there's two versions of Hinako, one that is more conformative and one that is not, and this is more of the part of Hinako that is following her, that just doesn't want to grow up and is scared. I think it's more of like a fearfulness. Listening back to these little recording snippets of this lore that I'm telling you about Silent Hill for these stickers, it's making me realize that this could be really fun, and I do like talking about these things, but I really might need to sit and write it down and almost do like kind of a script thing, because a lot of people do that, and I was like, oh, I could just ramble through it. I don't think so, because I'll be honest, I don't get a ton of views, and I will be surprised if a lot of you are listening to this part about the doll. But if you do, let me know. But I think it was kind of, I saw myself figuring out what I thought about it and the contradictory views or like thoughts I was having in the moment. And I was like, I really need to write this down and really figure out my thoughts so that I could really come to you with a concise view on what I'm talking about. So we'll revisit this another day. I'm not going to redo all of it now for this, but maybe for the video I might do for some other Silent Hill stuff. Or the painting. I need to do a lot for the painting. Maybe I'll really sit down and write myself a little script and get my thoughts out and really work through them fully before I sit here and try and ramble on. Because, I mean, I know about this game, and I have a lot of thoughts. I played it 5 times. I got every ending of this game. I loved it. But I sound as if I don't know what I'm talking about because I haven't put my words down onto paper. So I'll try it again. but let me know if you think it was as bad as I do, especially if you made it all the way here. I would really appreciate some feedback. But enjoy the rest of this sketch before you see my beautiful face again at the end. Bye, guys.
Well, thank you for watching and taking interest in my art and my channel. And if you made it all the way to the end of this and you want to see more of my art, you want to see this painting, you want to see other videos of me, please subscribe. I always see YouTubers saying like, comment, subscribe, and I feel like maybe it is necessary. Why? I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of people that I like to watch and videos that I like that I guess you forget. Like, oh, I forgot, I didn't subscribe to them, or oh, I rarely like a video. It's not because I don't like the videos, it's because most of the time it's just playing on a queue on my phone. So it's not the first thought in my head to like it. But please, if you like this video, if you made it this far, go ahead and like it. You stayed here for this long. But like it, comment and let me know. Would you buy these as air fresheners? Would you buy them as stickers? And should I do more? I think I want to do like little collections of games I like. So like we'll do like Dark Souls, and we'll do other Silent Hill games, Resident Evil. Let me know some games you want to see. I'll do cutesy things too, like Stardew Valley. I love Stardew Valley. I don't just like scary games, but they're some of my favorite things to draw and to play, is scary or fantasy type games and stuff like that. So let me know what you want to see from me. Please subscribe. I would love to have 200 subscribers by the end of this year, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And if you like this video, go check out my video where I tell you about all the resources I used to learn the skills that I used making these stickers. And then stay tuned. I think I want to make a Hinako print, and I want to try and do a more thorough process video where maybe I actually break down the steps for you guys. So stay tuned for that. Come back for more. But all right, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.